Hey Scrapbookers, it's Katie Scott and I am, I don't know what episode this is. I think maybe number 8 of my Century Scrapbook project. And I was telling my sister about this last night and she was like, "You're making a page for every day of the century?" She was like, "Wait a minute, that's like 100 times 300. And no, I'm not making a page for every single day of the century, but just one page per year. And so that will become almost like this table of contents for the rest of my family history and ancestry information, because I have lots and lots of it. I've inherited most of it, and I'm, like the self-declared family historian, but as a result, you end up accumulating a lot of things. And so I feel like if you're going to call yourself the family historian, then a good idea would be to keep everything in very orderly and easy to find ways. So that's my goal, is just putting everything into some kind of an order. And I figured that chronological order is the best order. So I have gotten all sorts of notebooks and a set of 3 bookshelves at my office where I'm setting up everything chronologically. But then this album will be almost like the table of contents for the rest of it. So if you just did not want to go through the scads and scads of information, you could just look at this album. And so this album will have 1 page per year. And so if I have more than 1 page about 2008, well, that's going to go into the 2008 book within the rest of that library. But this particular book is just going to have 1 page per year. So the reason I like that concept is that it automatically frees. It's an automatically freeing idea, because you could not encompass every single thing that happened in any calendar year. And even though this is like lots and lots of pictures on 1 page, I don't intend to tell every single thing about what happened in that year. This just gives you a little snapshot. Even this is 2007, so this page about May 2008 has lots and lots of, like, 1 2 3 4 times 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. I've been doing 5th grade math. So 40 pictures on that page, but then the very next page only has 1 picture. And barely any journaling whatsoever. Within these albums, it's going to be obvious that this is my nuclear family. And so some of the other pictures are more labeled than that one. But there's 2002. So I made some pages without making videos. I think I made 2007, and then 2002 is when we had our baby boy. So that's when we became parents, and I felt like that page just ought to, and 2003 likewise will all be all about our baby daughter. Yeah, so there's 2002 baby Mac. And then 1991, I believe I did a video when I made this page. And so from 1991 to 2002, that's like a lot of changes. So it'd be fun to fill in those years. There's 1985 and 1977. And this is 1969. And these were some photos that I'm not like totally happy with this page. I think it's design-wise it's a little weak, but that didn't stop me from finishing it. So I don't like how this blue doesn't really match that blue, and it's close enough that it either should match or contrast better, but it's finished. So I'm gonna, I'm leaving it. And what I did was, on these are original pictures here of my father's graduation, I believe from the University of Maine. It doesn't say, but I think that's what it is. And so this was my mother. It looks like my mother's handwriting on the back, and it was exactly 1 year before I was born. So the journaling for this one, I wrote, "Life moves pretty fast. My dad graduated from the University of Maine exactly 1 year before I was born." So, and I just found a journaling card with a little VW bug, and I think those were popular at that time. So there is 1969. This is 1967, and this page I also did not make a video about, but this was just an easy page where I made some blocks of pattern paper and a little tiny bit of journaling, and these pictures are not from 1967. So in the and here comes my daughter and her friends. So I put on my blog that it's hard to get some free time without a lot of disturbance in my house. So I was planning to make some more videos over this weekend, but it was just almost impossible. We had like 5 or 6 kids here the whole weekend, so it was loud. But this is a page about 1967, even though the pictures aren't from 1967. The grave that we visited was my husband's grandfather, so my children's great-grandfather, and he died in 1967. So I thought that was because I think otherwise, like the 60s, I think my parents got married in 68, is going to be more about my family, so I wanted to include my husband's family too, so I was looking for ways to do that and noticed the 1967 and said, oh yeah. And so the pictures are from 2002, and these weren't pictures that I would want to represent the year 2002. So I chose the 1967 so I'd have something from his family, and I just wrote in, remember when in 2002 we went to find Charlie's grandfather's gravesite, and so that's it. And there's a whole big story, but I'm not going to tell the whole big story of his grandfather here, but that will be in the rest of the information. So there is a big story there. And actually, okay, so I wrote some of it on the back, and just wrote some things that after I made this page, I showed it to my husband, and then he like said a bunch of things about that story, and so I just wrote it on the back so that another page will go in the back here. And I'm not exactly sure whether I'm going to have whether 1968 will go here or whether it will just go on the face page of this. For now, I'm just putting them all, each year gets its own, so it will be 100 pages, but it might be condensed down to 50. I haven't decided yet. But the back of the page, or in between two pages, is a great place to put things that you don't necessarily want to, like some family drama, that you don't necessarily want to be broadcasting out there to the entire world. So that's where I put the information about that. And here's 1945. I think I made I made a video about that. And then this is 1935, and I can't remember if I made a video or not. I think I did. 1935. And then here's 1925, and I don't think I made it. And this was yeah, this was one of the, I think I did make a video about this one, but this was a population census from 1935, and it's for Pinellas County, Florida. So I think that and it did say 1935 as opposed to, you know, being something that was referenced in a 1940 census. And I think Jennifer on my blog, Jennifer C, commented that her husband worked for the census, and they only do censuses every 10 years. So this 1935 census is most likely either like a local or a state census. And I really think that because St. Petersburg was developing at that time, maybe that's why they did the half year. It was also the height of the Great Depression, so maybe they were, you know, trying to attract business or developers, or I'm not really sure. But anyways, that's the 1935 census, and where my mother-in-law lived at that time and who she lived with, and that information is all there. And then this page, I think I also did not make on a video, and also don't feel like it's a very strong, I'm not like super happy with the design of the page, but okay. I've been having printer issues and computer issues, so I had this picture of this is my grandfather. Whoops. There you see, somebody circled him. That's his 3rd grade year, and it said Class B or 3B of the Harrington School. So I Googled the Harrington School and found this picture of the Harrington School from about that time. It's in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and actually my grandfather's mother also went there, and it's a really unique looking building. So I put the picture at the top, and then just basically I had 3 photos. I had because I had scanned these in, the photo, the back of the photo where probably his mother had written that he was 8 years old and he was at the Harrington School. You know, she wrote some things down, and then this was typed up, like who was in all those pictures, and then I just did a bit of journaling. And this is an old family story where here is Grandpa in the 3rd grade about the time of the infamous toilet seat frame for the principal. And my grandfather apparently was a little bit of a rascal when he was a little guy, which seems to run with the boys in my family. But he took a toilet seat and framed the principal's frame picture in the hallway. And you could see, like, I think this was kind of you know, I don't know. It looks like a fancy place anyways, at least from the picture. So he got into some trouble for that. Let's see. And so this is, so I haven't done a lot of scrapbooking over the last couple of days. And I don't, sometimes I'll have inspiration that comes every day and sometimes I don't. And that's just the creative flow. This page, I think I made a video about the 1912 election and the 2012 election. And then back here, what I've started to do is just as I found different memorabilia. So this is something from 2003, and with my label maker, I'll put the labels for the dates. I've just started to gather some things, just random things that I come across. So it's lovely to, if you're the kind of person who's thinking like, oh, I need to save that, but it doesn't have any particular place. Now this system really gives your stuff a home, and it can also, I think, at some point be a decider for how much of this stuff am I going to keep or not. For example, I came across like a big stack of newspapers from when I was in college, and I plan to go through those and probably just make some clippings, and then some of them will go into an album, but I really don't need a huge stack of newspapers from when I was in college. I mean, I don't think anybody's really going to be interested in that. And I think, too, that with all of this stuff, the gift that you can give to yourself and to the future generations is to edit it down. And so, and to put it in some kind of order. So here's 1999, just, boarding pass from 1998, 1997, 1996, 1994, and then also as I've come across photos, and I'm not sure what year this one is from, but I've just been sticking them in here if I'm like, oh, well, that's a possibility for a page. Or even if it's not a possibility for a page, then I know where it's going to go in that system that I'm keeping in those bookshelves at my office. And yeah, so I've just kind of put these in chronological order. So this one is from 2003, and so that's, a perfect candidate to make a page about, because otherwise, I don't know what happened in 2003, but I can look here in my composition book where I've been keeping the timeline. And so in this one, I've written all of the dates. Each date gets a page. So each year gets a page back until the year of my birth, which is 1970. And then I go to every 5 years. And then I go to every 10 years once I hit 1900. And then every 50 years, I think, beyond that. So I can go back, all the way back to the ancient times. But here, when I come across a date like this, I'll just find that year. So that's going to be 1903. I think it was. Yes. 1903. That's 1905, so that's the wrong one. Okay. And so, see, I already have another entry, George Hanley was born. And so you get to start to see at different times how old people were in relation to each other. I think that this guy is Albert. I think this is my great-grandfather. Yes, Albert Preston Cunningham. I just wrote Albert Preston Cunningham graduated from New Bedford High School. And then that's just like a really nice, and the other thing I came across on the internet was like, a history of the 20th century. So what I'd like to do too is write like the Vietnam War started or World War II started, and put those types of things into this book so I can really put them into context, or like when people started having TVs or microwaves or different things like that, to just give some context. So this book's been very, very useful. And it's handy, and it's small, and it's not, it doesn't have anything to do with the computer. So if I'm having computer issues, then I don't need to worry about that. And here's another, just on the front here, I've just started to accumulate some things about, I found I think this was the 1940 census. 1940. And so for the 1940 census, I found my father's father, and then this is a picture of him, and it's not exactly like in 1940 he was 18 years old. So this picture is not a 1940s picture. So I probably shouldn't include it there, but I think I will anyways, because I'm not really sure if I have a picture of him from when he was 18. But here's the high school that he went to, and this picture was taken in 1950. I found it on the internet. So it doesn't, accuracy is great, but it doesn't have to be hyper accurate. I think that it's just, if it's a little something that really just whets the appetite of your family to want to see more, because honestly, not everyone is interested in this. And I was listening to, it's called the Genealogical Gems podcast. I think her name is Mary Louise Cook or something like that. I think I'm getting her name wrong. But she was saying how, like, in each generation, it seems like at least one person gets to be interested in family history. So whoever picks up this torch, I'm going to leave the torch well organized so they can continue with it. So, because I feel like I have this duty to my family, and it's something that I really feel like I want to do, is to carry on all of that research that has already been done for me. So, but to put it into a way that makes it interesting, because I feel like that was the gap. That was the missing link, was this just is not so interesting. So with these pages, because there's 100 of them, it kind of gives you a little freedom in that you don't feel like every single thing has to be perfect, because there's more than, there's lots and lots. And so I like that freedom with it. I like that I don't feel like I have to tell every single bit of every single story, that's going to be, this ongoing process of being somewhere else. And I also like, with this system of just doing one page per year, it does give you this sense of accomplishment, and then you can look through that book and think, like, look at how many I've done, or this is great. I'm making progress. So this is just Hello Baby Me. I was born in 1970. I'm just going to do a tiny bit of journaling here. So I know this photo was taken when I was in November 1970 at 62 Wilson Street, which is my grandparents' house. So there we go. And I think I just want to do a little bit of journaling, but I don't really want it to mess up the way that the page looks too much. But I think I just might maybe just right here. And I might even make some lines on the page. So I'm a member of Masterful Scrapbook Design, and I think it was Kim Watson she does a lot of these, just, you know, she'll make some lines for journaling. And she said one of her tricks is to just make the first line a little bit shorter than the rest of the lines. So I'm just going to write my full name, which I'm not a fan. Was never a fan of my middle name. So when I got married, I actually did away with it. Okay, so I made one more line of journaling. Just give that a line too. And I just basically wrote, you know, my full name, where I was born, the date, and the names of my parents. So that just gives context to the, and I might really want to have a page in the album that is like a letter from the editor, like a letter from me who made this album. So there we are with 1970, and I'm going to stop now. I need to go do some kid things, some mom things, and hopefully I will have the time and energy later today to get up another page. So thank you so much for the comments on my blog, Jennifer and Katie and Stephanie and Jim Jams, I think your name is. I really do appreciate the feedback, because I make these videos and I kind of think like either no one watches them or they click on them and really just think, oh, those aren't very professionally done. And I know it's not the best quality, but it's coming from the heart. So it's the best I can do with the amount of time and resources that I have for now. So there we are, 1970, and that will go on the book and up on the blog. And the other place I would recommend that you go visit is the Counterfeit Challenge Kid Club blog. I am actually their guest designer this month, and it's really an awesome way to use what you have, and so you don't need to buy anything, but use inspiration from current kit clubs to revitalize your old supplies, so and make them look awesome again. So I will be in this month. I don't think they've revealed it yet, but it's a really great kit club, and so I'm planning to make some more pages with that kit very soon. So thank you for watching. I'm Katie Scott with Kiss and Tell Scrapbooking. Thank you. Bye-bye.